Welcome, everyone. Today, we're going to be talking about how to reclaim your power. What if I told you that you have everything that you need to live the life that you desire, but you just need a shift in your perspective and how you see yourself? You have everything. You have enough money, you have enough time, you have enough peace, but the goal is how do you now rearrange your thinking and then rearrange your actions to be able to get what you desire. So today, I'm going to be interviewing one of my favorite people of all time, Erika Gravett. So, Erika, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Christy. Glad to be with you today.
Okay, your volume went down for some reason, but we're gonna make it work. Okay, are we ready? You ready?
Yes.
Okay, good. So if I go off the screen, I'm like trying to switch the screen around because what they told me, Erika, was people who got ADD can't look at the same static screen. So if I go off, don't be like, where she went.
Okay. Okay.
Your audio keeps going out now. What is so? Are you sitting in front of the?
I'm sitting in front of, yeah, I'm sitting in front.
Okay,
Okay. Can you
okay,
hear me? Okay.
yeah, it keeps going in and out. I can hear you though. Wait, say something.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, maybe right when I stop talking, pause for like a second and then start talking because right when you try to talk, like right after I stop talking, it doesn't. It's not working. Okay, we bootleg over here. All right, so Erika, what was going on with you when you decided to reach out to us over here, Vision Find International? I think it was 2023. What was going on with you?
Yes. It was September 2023 when I started with VFI. At that time, I had spent most of my adult life, well, all of my adult life on the East Coast. So I had been back in my home state of California for a little over 2 years. I was reconnecting with family. Um, I had a job in which I was a solid contributor, but I'm going to say I was merely existing and not living. I always felt like there's something was missing. So I hired what I thought was a career coach to tell me, what to do with my current job, go get a new job, stay there, etc. So that's how I ended up at Vision Finders International.
You know, what's sad is that I have to trick y'all to get home. I have to say it's your job. And and I do care, Erika, I do care about your job. And technically I can assist you with your career, which is what we're gonna talk about later. But I got to trick y'all to get whole. And even in 2025, I tried to talk about wholeness and burnout and trauma default. Child, it did not convert. They didn't want to hear that. So now I'm like this. So do y'all want to make $1 million? Like, I mean, money's easy, but let's do it. Fine. So let's talk about what was your trauma default. We laughing because I really have to trick y'all with money because you think your job is a problem that converts on an offer. Wholeness and burnout isn't something that people are seeking. People want more money. Does that make sense? But go ahead. What was your trauma default? And we're gonna unpack what I just said.
Christy, that makes so much sense. Because yes, you did trick me. So my trauma default was I'm not enough. There's something outside of me that I have to go and get in order to be fulfilled, in order to thrive, in order to live fully.
So you're conditioned to believe that you are not enough. So was it that you were a seeker? We ain't digging all into your childhood, but where did that stem from? Was that a conversation, or was it just an expectation of, we don't have enough, or you have to do, or you have to work harder? Like, where did the root of that conversation come from?
I think the root of the conversation, you nailed it, is you have to work harder. You have to do more. What you're doing is not enough. You got to keep going. You got to keep adding to your plate. Um, so I was continuing to do that and crashing and burning.
I have your before picture. Please let me show it. Please. Can I show your before picture?
Yes, you may show my before picture.
There she go. Do you remember that lady?
Yes.
Okay. So what advice do you have for people who think that they have to work harder? And then what does crashing and burning mean? Right? So what is that specifically? I don't know if you want to tell it, but if you didn't want to tell it, you'd be like, I don't want to tell it. But if you want to talk about, because I want people to understand that it's possible to get better, because Erika, in 2023, that was 2 years ago. Like, there are people who, I talk to all the time, and they keep saying, I'm gonna wait, I'm gonna wait, I'm gonna wait, and I'm gonna wait. And I'm like, yeah, but your life is just continuing to get worse, or they're continuing to wait for a better time. And so I'm like, there's no better time than now, because the times aren't getting better. You're actually getting better. Does that make sense? Like, you're getting better every year. You're not deteriorating worse. But go ahead.
Yes. So I'm going to tell you, I was chasing degrees. I have 4 degrees. You can faintly see them behind me. But I was like, I just got to go get the next degree, and that's going to do it for me. I was chasing certifications. I think at one time I had 5 or 6 certifications. And I was still asking myself, do I have another? If I get that one more certification, that's going to do it for me. I was physically moving every few years, which created a shiny new thing, just enough to distract me from doing the work that I needed to do on myself. I was a people pleaser. When I came to you, Christy, I was in an unhealthy physical state, the unhealthiest I had been in my entire life.
So you had several medical conditions.
Yes, I was depressed. I was pre-diabetic. I had high cholesterol. I was asthmatic, and I was obese. I came to you in September of 2023. I no longer have any of those conditions. 2 years later, in just 2 years.
Was it 2 years or was it before that?
Oh, it was before now. Actually, I'm sitting here 2 years later. Actually, no, it was before now, so it was less than 2 years.
Okay. Let me put you back up here. So, okay. So you came to me, which is okay because you already know, right? Pre-diabetic, depressed, asthmatic. It was one more. What
High
else?
cholesterol.
High cholesterol. Talking about your job. My job is a problem. Oh, my job. Oh, they get on my nerves. You be like this. Huh? I can relate if y'all can relate. Oh, I just need a better job. Oh, it's like the next thing. I need another degree. You be like, but sis, can you stop and take care of yourself though? I ain't got time for that. I ain't got time to work out. I ain't got time to breathe. Hey, this is my lot in life. Now I'm yelling. This is my lot. This is just the way God intended. But can I get some more though? Right? Some more what? Something. So what advice do you have for your former self? Like the lady that you're looking at. What advice do you have for her? Because I see a lot of unhealthy women on LinkedIn who tell me they're okay. And I can see it all day. I just be sitting there like this. Yeah, all right. But so what advice do you have for your former version of you? What advice do you have for you?
That you got to start doing your work. That's number one. Your work might be your physical health. Your work might be your mindset. Your work might be your personal relationships. The good thing about Christy is if you work with her, you're going to hit all those areas. Your career, your personal life, your professional life, your relationships, your interpersonal relationships, you're going to do all that. But the advice I have is you got to stop lying to yourself. Stop lying to yourself. Know that there is light on the other side of this. You have to start identifying the work that you need to do, and you need to get started. What is interesting is that when I started working with Christy said, okay, you need to meditate. I think it's at least 3 times a week. You need to do these daily affirmations, and you need to get out and walk. I think walking was 3 times a week. And I sat there like, what in the world does this have to do with me and my career? But I did trust Christy enough to say, okay, I'm going to do these things and let's see what happens. And now we're sitting on the other side this is what happens. So my advice is you got to be honest with yourself. You got to stop lying to yourself. If you are tired and burnt out, you got to recognize it and you got to start doing something about it.
So tell me, what did that have to do with your career? What did you actually breathing and getting some sleep and exercising, what did that do for your career?
That actually did wonders for my career. I think I'm a completely different person in my job, and I function, and I would say I operate at a higher frequency. Because I now know who I am, I know my worth, and I know what I bring to the table. There is a page in page 109 to page 10 of Trauma Default. It says, and I wrote it down, when someone says something to you that caused you to suffer deeply, was it really them or did they trigger your unhealed trauma? We sit out and say, it's them. It's the people at work. No, it's you. It was me. And I learned it was me. And so I learned and I'm dealing with me so that I show up in a completely different way at work. Oh yeah, I like that second. I like that picture.
Look how fine you are right there. Look right there. So you went from this. I mean, you cute right here. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But you extra crispy fine right here. I mean, my God. Put my God in the chat if y'all see that. My God. Look at that right there. Before, after. Unhealthy. Okay, fine. This lady talking about breathe, whatever. I don't know what that got to do with my job. Let me come over here and breathe and work out. Ooh, Lord. Okay, go ahead. All right. Go ahead. So, all right. So, Erika, let's talk about what I want to I want you to share what was 1 or 2 things outside of working out that you did to become healthy, right? Because it's for me, I know that if I can get you to be a better person, you'll be a better leader. I know that if I can get you to be healthier for yourself and get some sleep and breathe, you can show up and be a better team member at work. And so we put so much emphasis as leaders, and that's the challenge that leaders have, especially with a gazillion degrees. It's like we're not taught to develop ourselves personally. You got every credential known to man. You got the long tailwind of every letter behind your name. Probably gonna try to get a PhD, right? And so it's like, we're taught to validate ourselves through our degrees and through working hard. and you can blow right past being valuable because you never stop to take inventory of how great you are. So what advice do you have for people who just don't know that they're great, like today, because you didn't know that you were great?
Correct. Yeah, I did not know I was great, but I now know I'm great. Along with the physical things, it's it's not just the physical health, but it was mentally. I had to work on my mindset. Um, Mindset is huge because I think mindset is what allowed me or propelled me to be able to do the working out, etc. Um, I had to start with my mindset. I mean, I remember getting those affirmation cards in the mail. And I'm like, I'm supposed to say these every day. But it does something to your mindset. We talked about, meditating. I was a go, go, go. Let's just get it done. I don't have time to sit down and meditate. I don't have time to think. I don't have time to do any journaling. That's not for me. But I have to take some quiet time. I have to be able to understand how to center and ground and calm myself, so that I can perform my best. When you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off, you are not your best self, and you cannot perform in your personal life, in your professional life, anywhere. So I had to learn how to be able to sit still and be quiet and listen, um, so that I can ground myself. So I can say those were those are a couple of things that when I got that packet, I was like, "What in the world is this?" And I'm said, "Okay, I'm gonna do them. I'm gonna do them." But it started with a lot of mindset work. Some of us have childhood trauma. You got to figure that out and deal with that and heal from that because it just keeps showing up. Any type of trauma just keeps showing up. You got to work on that.
So basically what you did was sit down somewhere.
Yes. That and when you say it like that, it seems shallow, but it's not because that picture that
Yep.
was 2 years ago, that's the woman that sat down.
Yep.
And what you see today is um, is the end result of the product of the woman who sat down.
Glory, 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 glory. Okay, so somebody asked you to speak more about frequency. So she says you mentioned frequency and vibrations. What did you mean by that? Somebody asked you to speak a little bit more on that.
Oh, it's just my mindset is such a space that I feel I'm operating at a higher level. We talk. I could think about when I was in advanced politics, and I was telling Christy, I'm having a challenge, and whether it was with specific people or people, it was just very irritating. And what I had to realize is it had the only thing I could do is change myself. So, and it wasn't them, it was me. I have to take control of my actions, and I have to have a mindset such that when things happen, they don't completely derail me and take me off of my game. I have to be ready. And so when I say operating at a higher frequency and vibrations, all those things that used to, people used to get on my nerves. They used to do this and that. That is gone. Um, People are going to be people, and they're going to do what they are going to do. It's how I respond and how I manage my reaction. And so that's what I mean when I say that I operate um, at a different frequency and I have a different vibration. The things that used to bother me, the things that I used to say it was them and not me, that doesn't bother me anymore. I've changed the way I respond and the way I manage, because the world is going to stay the same around you. I had to take control of my own actions and how I respond to things and how I let things impact me or not impact me.
One of the things I want to add to that. Okay, I keep hearing feedback on myself. Let me turn my volume down a little bit. But one of the things I want to add to that when it comes to frequency is vibrations. We're energy. We are spiritual beings having a physical experience, right? And so it's like once you start to learn, we're vibrating at 97.9. So it's like a radio station. Once you start to get some sleep, meditate, and work out, then you move from like 97.9 to 99.9, you know, and then as you start to tune into who you are and make decisions and draw boundaries for the things that you want for your life and determine how you want to feel and forgive some people, now we jump up to 103.3, 105.3. And so a lot of the problems that were plaguing you at 97.9 was because you was at 97.9. Now that you've risen higher, then you don't have these same dumb petty problems, and you don't really, sometimes you got to let some of your friends go because your friends are content with being at 97.9 and you now want people who are at 108.7. You're because there's another level of joy that's available for you if you're willing to get uncomfortable. So so that's what we talk about frequency. I could do a whole master class on that. We won't do that today. So Erika, let's talk about, so we got healthy, you fine. How long did it take you to lose that weight? It didn't take forever. It wasn't 2 years. You didn't you do something?
It's probably it was about a year.
So what? You lost like most of my clients over here getting fine. Have you seen Kathy lately? Raquel done lost like 60 pounds. Kathy Allen's like 80 pounds. Jennifer done lost 30. Dana lost 60 something, 30, 60. I don't know. It's a lot. So did you lost it naturally? What did you do? I'm in your business.
My business. Let me tell you something, Christy. There are tools that are available, that people can research, etc. I did use some tools, but let me tell you, tools are there for assistance. They do not do the work for you. I completely changed my eating style too, Christy.
And I saw your gym pictures. That's why I asked the question. Like I saw you sweating it up. Like you sent me some sweaty gym pictures.
I do. I mean, I'm in the gym lifting heavy 3 to 4 times a week. I completely changed my nutrition. I don't eat how I used to eat before. I still enjoy food and I love food. Let's just be clear on that. But I changed that. Sleep. Christy was mentioning sleep. Sleep is important. Sleep was critical to part of me in my weight loss. Because you can't be exhausted and do what you do in the gym and not rest and recover. I liked sugary drinks. I was a heavy soda drinker. No diet, nothing. I drink water now. So that's my drink of choice is water. So there's a lot of tools that I had to pull out my toolbox to help me with this, but it requires work. All of it requires work. There are no shortcuts. You have to do the work.
So I asked you that one that wasn't on your list of questions. I told you they were loose questions. I sent you some questions.
Very loose. Yep.
You said they were very loose. Erika wrote out the answer to her questions and everything. I was like, these are some loose questions. I'm gonna make it up. But the reason why I asked you that, Erika, so you use the tools to jumpstart, right? Like because you were obese. You said it. Like you were sick.
Yes.
You had medical conditions. You had asthma. So you were. You were dangerously at a level like code red. You needed something to pull you, to give you a jump start so you can now start to manage it yourself. Go ahead.
Yes. So I did use, and I still use too, but I did have to jump start.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I needed something. I needed something drastic to help
Yep.
me jumpstart.
Yep.
So to give me some leverage, so that I can build the lifestyle
That's good.
that I need to live a healthy life.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I just wanted to, because I see a lot of women, a lot of busy women, a lot of executive women who are walking around with extra weight, right? And so, I ain't gonna say nothing. That's on y'all. But if you do lose the weight, which a lot of my clients have, is like, I want to know, not necessarily to be nosy, but I want anything that I do and all of these podcasts and anything that I say is never about Christy Rutherford, right? It's about, it's kind of about you, but it ain't really about you. It's about people being inspired by your story, people seeing your before and after pictures so they can be like, oh, okay, so if she lost that weight in a year, that means that I can too. So I want to inspire y'all to change before life makes y'all change. I want to inspire y'all to change before you in your brother's house eating white eggs and country crock and drinking liquor like I was, and eating nutty bars and Dutch chocolate bluebell ice cream. Like I don't think that we all should have that fate of self-destruction before we learn that we could have changed, right? And for you, it's like not being diabetic and going into a coma and then coming out talking about let me lose some weight.
And what I will say is, working with you, I think advanced me quickly to figure out, okay, I got to take charge of my physical health. I don't know that would have come had I not worked with you, or come as quickly and right on time when it needed to do, because my health was here, but it was at a point where it was just going to drop significantly if I didn't make any changes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about advanced office politics, which is what you were my you came in February. I did it live. People be asking for a live now. You be like this. It's virtual. Y'all should join me in February in Miami. But so Erika was there. So when we get your mindset in order and we help you get some sleep and get your health in order, a lot of people blame their jobs. Erika, and I'd be like, it ain't your job, but fine. If y'all want to play this game, I double dutch with y'all. Fine. You want a better job? Fine. Come over here. But let's get your mind in your job. So when it comes to advanced office politics, what was that experience like for you in advanced office politics, y'all? I've been playing the game for 25 years. It brings me great joy. And this is something that I just started teaching this year with regards to how to navigate and play the game. Either you playing the game or you getting played. Either you moving the pieces on the chessboard or you get moved, right? So what did you learn about office politics and yourself, Erika?
So, Christy, the first I remember you saying in office politics, you stood right there saying, y'all out here working with no strategy. Because everything that you did in your illustrious Coast Guard career was about strategy and setting you and others up for whatever the next was. That was a big aha. She's like, you just out here working. So I think one of the there are several takeaways, but a big takeaway is which you have to have a strategy for your career, whether that is working for an organization or working for yourself or both. The second thing is I remember we talked about, and I don't know the exact tool, but it's all about preferences and styles. You have to know the preferences and styles of the decision makers and the people in charge, because you have to be able to communicate with them in their preferred style, or you will keep banging your head up against a wall.
So it's like treating people, learning your personality type, not DISC, right? But learning your personality type, but then learning the personality type and the preferences of your leadership teams. So you can talk to them like they want to be talked to. You can communicate with them in a style that they want to be communicated with. You can treat them how they want to be treated. And that's not code switching, Erika. That's actually strategically saying, if I want to build this relationship with you, then I have to show up in a certain way. And so what Erika's doing, Erika is a a person who likes to read her notes, and I'm over here on the fly. So at work, we're gonna be beefing because I'm on the fly and Erika read her notes. But when you understand that these are two different types, you just be like, oh, okay, that's what she needs, and this is what I need. And if she understands that she gonna come with me, she got to be able to flex just a little bit, because I be all over the place. Go ahead.
Yes, and I will say because Christy, it's the colors. If Christy is a red, Christy's a visionary. She's gonna make it happen. I mean, Christy don't. She might not know step one, but she already got step 10 in her head. For me, it's different. I'm like, okay, what's step one, two, three, four? I need to see the whole thing. But knowing that about myself, and if I'm reporting to Christy, knowing that about Christy, I can't go to Christy with my 1 through 10 steps. I am going to have to, I'm going to have to boil it down, summarize it, make a big picture, because I need to be able to communicate it to Christy in a way that's effective for both of us.
So how has advanced office politics changed your dynamics as you show up at work today? Because it's been like 5 months. So how has the work dynamics changed? What's been the result of that?
Because I think I know what the people around me. I immediately went back and could to my workplace, and I know and can figure out what the people around me, what their preferred styles are. Particularly my boss's boss, the decision makers, the key people, and I know when I'm working with them, presenting with them, I know how to speak in their language, and that is critical to my effectiveness and my success in the workplace.
And I think you also stopped arguing with people that had no bearing on your career.
Oh yeah, yes, definitely, definitely.
What was that? Because we beefing with people, but when you understand the strategy, right? So what was that? What was you understanding the strategy for where you're going, and then how you interacted with other people?
I have to think about at the end of the day, what's the benefit, what's the impact of all this, and beefing with people at work or spending a lot of time beefing with people at work. At the end of the day, that that does not matter. How does that impact my career in any way, in any positive way? And it doesn't. So I have to learn how to step back and disengage and engage differently, because I need to focus on what matters for me in my career.
I think the last question that I want to ask is, you talked about strategy, and once I started teaching it, I became shocked at how much strategy and game I was running to my. That's why you burn out. It was. I thought I burned out because I was working. Oh, I burned out because my mind was and teaching other people and working and doing my job. I ran so much game. It was amazing. So when it comes to strategy, I thought everybody thought like that, right? And so I'm looking at y'all looking at me like I'm crazy. And I'm like, oh, so y'all just working? Wait, why you got that degree? You didn't have anything, a result attached to that degree of how that degree is going to go 5 levels up. You just got the degree and was going to see what happened. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Y'all are hilarious. So what advice do you have for people with regards to being strategic in their careers? Like, how did that change for you when you look at, because you've been in the game 30 years and you still got time, right, on the clock. How did that change for you and how you show up at work now with regards to, like your job and how you show up?
It changed my focus. It it I think got me to zone in on me engaging in activities um, that are going to propel me in my career. Um, you know, I do have some freedom in picking and choosing what to focus on. I'm able to pick and choose what matters most, what's going to have the biggest impact. Um, it also it helped me recognize, this is where I need to play and this is where I don't need to play. This is where I need to be in the sandbox. This is where I don't need to be in the sandbox. So for me, I was one, I got to do everything. I got to add this, this, and this. No, this gave me going through advanced office politics, allowed me to step back and look and then choose where I really needed to play and show up versus just showing up everywhere and being exhausted from it.
Yeah, and I think that's the key, right? Like you're intentional about your energy. So you'd be like, okay, you used to do 10 things because you were a people pleaser and overdoing. We scaled that back in Vision Finder Masterclass. But now you're like, okay, so if I do this, whatever I do has to go somewhere. I can't just be doing stuff to be doing stuff. I ain't just gonna be working hard to be seen because they may not see me. And I think that's where a lot of people burn out is like, you're doing 20 good things. You only really need to do one right thing. Okay, last question. We're gonna bring Brooke up. What advice do you have for people who are interested working over us? Wait, hold on. Let me rephrase that. What advice do you have for people who are interested in working with us over here at Vision Finder International?
I'm going to say work with Christy and her team. The unique thing about Christy and her team is that her team is able to catapult you and get you started on doing the work that will positively impact every area of your life. I know you all are here because it's the job or your career, but you'll get the job and the career. You'll get your money. Trust me, you will get your money. But you will also improve your personal life. Your health will improve. Your relationships will improve. It's a one-stop shop. And when Christy said, it's funny because she said, she had to trick me to get me here. And that's true because, I was hiring a quote career coach. Christy is so much more than her team, so much more than a career coach. It's a place you can go to come and start being whole in every area of your life. And in order to thrive in your career and get your money, you're going to have to be whole in all areas of your life.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. We just focus on the woman. Y'all are just the leader, right? Because I'll open it up to men too in 2025. It's great. So it's like y'all want to do 5 different things, 10 different things actually. And I'm like, let's just focus on you. If we get you in order, then you can get your health in order. You can get your money in order. You can get your job in order. You can get your family in order. You can get your marriage in order. It's like we're taught as people and as leaders to compartmentalize every area of our life. And we're missing out on like the one person that matters. And that's the person that's looking in the mirror. So I invite y'all to join me for my upcoming event, $500,000 to $1 million career playbook. The $1 million blueprint is what I'm going to be talking about. And so I want to share with you, if you want to make between $500,000 and $1 million in your career, go ahead and register for my upcoming event. That's my commercial. Go ahead and register for my upcoming event that is where I'm talking about, because in 2025, if you don't want to make over $600,000, why are we even talking? We've done it over 30 times. We've had $421 million in salary raises and business revenue in some of the toughest economic times in our history and generation. So, because I'm the greatest to ever do it. But anyway, y'all can join me at this virtual event, and I would love to host y'all and share it. And the next one is tomorrow. So, all right, Erika, well, I appreciate you, young lady. I appreciate you showing up and sharing your testimony. Brooke, did you see how fine Erika was, though? Did you see that? Did you see that after picture? Let me show you. So one more time. That was her before. That's her now. Ooh, God damn. So, all right, Erika, I'm gonna let you go. Thank you so much for showing up and sharing your insight. And I hope that the audience got something from it and will be inspired to take action. Talk to you soon. All right, my next guest that I'm gonna bring up, got wide over here, is the amazing Brooke Cianfichi. Did I get that right, Brooke? Okay, kind of right. So we're gonna bring Brooke up. I'm coming. I'm coming for you.
Hey,
we're gonna bring Brooke up. I want to talk to Brooke about reclaiming your power, because when we talk about, who you are and where y'all are and what y'all are doing, I want to hold on, let me put this link in the chat. you know, when I thought about will I continue to do podcasts, I just love them so much. I can't stop. Like I can't stop talking. And I think about Brooke. People will be like, well, can I get on your podcast? I'll be like, no, I invite my clients. Why? Because I wanted to create a new conversation in the market and nobody's talking about what I'm talking about. And I don't want to talk about what I want to talk about. And I want to talk about winning. And I want to talk about winning in 2025. Now, we've been talking about winning for years. And it's one thing for me to sit here and share insight. It's another to show the world my fruit. And by your fruits, ye shall know who she is. So, Brooke, how are you today?
I'm fabulous.
Okay.
I am fabulous today. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for showing up. So, Brooke, what was going on with you when you reached out to work with us? What year was that? What was it, 2022?
2023.
2023? Okay. What was going on when you reached out to work with us over here at Vision Finder International?
So, Christy, and hi, everyone. It's good to see everybody. What was going on for me was, honestly, I was in a space in my life where I kept feeling like I was living this repeat of relationships and events. And the common denominator I finally realized was me and not the events or the people. It was me. I couldn't look any longer outside of myself and say, oh, well, that's because of that person or that thing or that job or that event. It was me. I was drawing these things to me. And so I needed to figure out what was going on. And I remember when I reached out to you, Christy, I didn't reach out to you and say, I need a new job and I need a raise. That wasn't actually what resonated with me. What resonated with me was your messaging on figuring your stuff out. That was what stuck to me. It was something's going on and I don't know how to approach it. I'm stuck. I felt stuck.
So you couldn't run from you no more.
I knew it was me. I knew it was me, right? I knew that, like, at the end of the day, right?
Hold on, your head is coming. Okay.
Am I floating? Am I floating?
No, I want to keep you, because when we do the cuts, I need you to be in the middle. So I got to keep that fineness in order. I can't be cutting off side of your head because
All right, hold on. Let me move a little. There we go.
Can you push it back a little bit so our heads are the same? Push it back. Just.
Is this good?
That shirt, girl. Can I borrow that shirt? Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, you good.
Cozy.
All right.
So yeah, I realized I couldn't run from me. And you know how you have a friend? Everyone has a friend. Now I'm the friend. Everyone has the friend that keeps going in through these same sort of events and having these same types of connections or relationships. And then the friend is sitting there and complaining. Well, this person did me wrong and like that friend. And then it finally dawned on me, we are all that friend to somebody else before we fix ourselves. We're the person that everyone's looking at and saying, I can tell you what's going on with her. I can see it, but no one wants to say it to you, right? So you have to go through that process of introspecting because your friends love you and your family loves you and they don't want to say it to you. So I had to do the work myself. It wasn't their responsibility or their job to do that for me. But yeah, everyone, we are all that friend to somebody else, the one that they can see something's going on for you and that you're repeating patterns, you're repeating trauma. Well, that's where I was. I could see that I hadn't figured out why I would keep triggering a certain way, but I kept getting similar experiences and it got loud. And I was seeing that it was getting loud and that it was a message and I needed to pay attention to it. So that's when I reached out.
I think as Einstein said that insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results. And so I remember getting to that point in my career where I just kept going around the same circle. And I kept thinking that, if I just left that office, right? And if I just did certain things, or if I got the next rank, or if I made more money, that I would like feel a certain way, or if I get another degree, or if I'm looking for this feeling and I couldn't find it. And after, running myself straight raggedy and having like the next crazy boss, I had great bosses and I had crazy ones. I'm like, but this can't be it, because I've seen this story before. Like I can't run from me. Go ahead.
You can't run from us, and we think that the trophy will fix it. And the trophy just doesn't fix it because it's this external validation. And we're like, look, I'm trying to get it and I can't reach it. And that you can't run from yourself. It's here. It's all in here. And so I'm so happy that I reached out when I did, Christy, because for me, I didn't know what I needed to do. I didn't know how to do it, and I didn't know what I needed to do. And I'm being completely transparent in this. I was really stuck because I couldn't. Okay, we all go to therapy, or we go and we speak to a friend, and they give you a certain type of advice. And the friend is going to be really lovely and kind to most friends. Sometimes they're more direct, and that's helpful. And the therapist it's a different conversation altogether because they need you to kind of come to the realization, but it's a long, drawn out process. And I get that. That's how it works. But there was no space there. I couldn't find a place where I could go to get just brutal honesty from a third party. And I was ready for it. I was ready for that. I knew it was going to not be fun to hear. Like, I knew it, but I was ready for it. And so that's how I found you, was who's speaking truth? Who's out here talking about how we need to show up? Who's doing that work? And you kept popping up for me.
You know, it's funny when you talk about that long drawn process. I will get finished talking to the therapist. I said, my God, I've been talking for an hour. You ain't solved nothing. Like, I don't have all year for this. How long this gonna take, bro? How long this gonna take? I've been here for 3 months. We still talking about the same thing. Hey, man, like, go ahead.
And then it's like I'm just stewing in my own complaint over and over. Like, where am I going? Where am I going? Where is my ship pointed, and how am I going to get there? And can someone please tell me, is my sail right? Is my ship in the right direction? What do I really need to do? Because I can beat the pants off of a competition. I can figure out how to, win this thing. I can figure that out. But I'm not fulfilled. I don't feel good. And I'm repeating similar patterns that at the end don't get me any happier, even though maybe I have a new title, or maybe I have and I will say right here and now, live, I apologize for the person that I sometimes showed up as when I was younger before I did this work. I love her. She's great. She made me who I am today. I love her dearly, but she didn't always show up well because I was not healed and I wasn't able to connect with people as myself without the competitive mask plastered on my face, running to win the next thing.
Let's talk about that, because I was thinking, like, last week, we're so in sync. But last week I was thinking, I told a couple of people, I think it was maybe 2016, 2017, I apologize. Y'all have never really met me. Like, we've been friends for 15 years, but you've never really met me. And, today I'm completely different than who I was in 2015, because sometimes you have to be mindful of where people meet you on your journey of awareness of who you are. And so a lot of people that I was friends with for a long time, we don't vibrate on the same level, and we just don't resonate. It's not because we're better, or we're just different, or we just have different ideologies about how I want to exist in the world, right? Yes. And so let's talk about your trauma default. What was your trauma default? And if I go off screen, I'm trying to mix the screens up a little bit. So if I go off screen, just keep talking. Don't freak out. I'm trying to stir it up.
No
okay,
problem.
Great. I left Erika. Hold on. I left Erika. Erika stopped talking after 10 seconds. I was like, okay, let me come back. So I couldn't be over her. So the pure talk. So what was your trauma default, Brooke? And how did that show up in different areas of your life?
So my trauma default is the really fun combo of being a perfectionist and a fighter. That's fun. Those two are really fun to carry around, right? So as a perfectionist, when I think of that as my main default, I'm always striving, or was, I should say was, always striving for more, bigger, better, and like having an insatiable appetite to do and accomplish more. I couldn't relax. And then on the fight side of things, when I would get triggered, I would just let you know exactly what I thought and felt, and I could really, really be difficult. And I'm not saying that like, I have to say this the right way because I want people to really understand where I'm coming from here. As a lady, we need voices, and I have a voice, and my voice is powerful. But when I trigger, it was not okay for me to fight. It's never okay for anyone to fight at the level that I would fight to defend my points, because I had a very black and white view, right? As a perfectionist, you either succeed or you fail. And so if I'm not succeeding, I'm failing, and I need to succeed, which means I can only see things in black and white. So if you say something I don't agree with, you need to agree with me, and I'm going to fight you, even though at the end of the day, these were just my friggin' opinions, everyone. They were opinions. No one wins in an opinion fight. Nobody wins. There's no winner. It's just two opinions against each other. And so I had this really, it was like a Molotov cocktail of perfectionism and fight. And by the way, it helped in my career, but it helped in my career at a deep personal cost to me.
Yeah, I think we need certain patterns. Now that we know them as dysfunctions, we need certain patterns and dysfunctions. It makes us successful up to a certain point. And then at a certain point, when we want to get to the next level or actually feel joy, God dog. So you can achieve everything, and you can have the corner office in the skyscraper overlooking Central Park, and drive the car, whatever you want, and wear your Gucci or Manolos, and you're so miserable because you're stuck in this pattern. And it's like, so what's the point of continuing? Because it's not getting any better. Success is actually driving me DAM crazy, and you don't know how to stop yourself, right? And so it's like, what's the I think certain things that we need that we now know them as dysfunctions. We use those dysfunctions to get us to a certain level of success, and then at a certain point, it starts to work against us. What are your thoughts on that?
I fully agree. I think that what worked to get you one spot, often the book completely is rewritten for the next spot. And it's not written down anywhere. When I say the book is rewritten, people will often say to me, well, what are the rules and what are the shortcuts and how? It's like, no, this is just human mechanics. Like, how do I show up in this environment? And the environment just shifted because I went from this level to this level, and now the environment is different. There's no playbook. I don't know what the new rules are, so I'm going to feel them out for the next little while. But I can tell you that I don't, if somebody asked me today, would you do it over the same way? I love the human that I've become. I'm happy I had that contrast and those experiences. I don't dislike her. I think that she was handed, oh yeah, there I am. I think she was handed lots of things as a way to test her. Right? It's certain relationships and certain situations and certain jobs and roles. And I was tested over and over, and I ultimately figured it out. So I wouldn't change her. She had to grow up, and she had to see that it was not everybody else doing it to her. She had to see it. And so when I think about myself today, what do I do differently than I used to do? When I hear a narrative start, No, we were not doing a narrative. So what do I mean by that? We all do this, right? Until you learn you shouldn't do it anymore because it hurts you, because it becomes your reality. When in my mind, I would try to figure out something about why someone was behaving a certain way, and I'd start to create a narrative for them, a totally different human being who's very complicated, just like I am. I was making up stories, and those stories were going to drive me crazy. I had to stop doing it. But there was a time in my life where I did it all the time to explain lots of different things. And then I ultimately realized this doesn't serve me. So I got to a level and I went, oh my gosh, this is not the way to be a good human being. This is a terrible way. Let's not make stories. Let's not tell ourselves things about other people. Let's mature and let's see our flaws and know we're not perfect, and then show up differently.
I used to read a lot. Once I left the Coast Guard, I used to read a lot of articles, Harvard Business Review and Forbes, because in the military, we have our own language. We have our own industry. So I didn't read that stuff. And I started to be shocked. I mean, some of the things were similar, but I started to be shocked at how they explain, like double binds and, like the double-edged sword, pretty much, where, when we get to the senior levels, we're likable. We're seen as likable when we're junior, but the more senior we become, we're more competent, but we're less likable. Right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, well, you see me as competent, and now, Brooke, we know why, because we were competent, but we weren't that likable. So at junior level, a lot of the things that I think when we talk about like your trauma default, it works for you at the junior level. And so, but you came here with that. So you came into your job and your career with the perfectionism and the fight, but you didn't fight as much because you don't have to fight that much at the junior level. So it's just perfectionism, get it done, get it done, get it done, get it done. And then as you grow and that works, and so that kind of strengthens that persona, right? And then when you get to the senior level, it's perfectionism and you have to fight all the freaking time. So it starts to work against you. And now it's almost like we're being demonized or punished for the persona that the industry created. So like, y'all made me like this. So now you're going to punish me. And as senior women, we don't understand why we're being punished. It's like, you did this. Like you, and it's when you choose to be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Step out of it.
And refresh. Then it's like when you come back, you're now more, you're super welcomed by the very same men that we thought was running us out the room. Is because we were crazy and we didn't know it. What are your thoughts on that?
So, oh gosh, like you and I we could dig on this one forever, and I do love this one because so I agree. Number one, I totally agree. And the temptation I think that I always had was when the fight came out and the perfectionism was there, was just to kind of be like, why aren't you noticing all the stuff, like you, why aren't you, what's, and then I couldn't stop at that moment when I needed the help. I couldn't stop and figure out how to pull myself out of that that brain that was very negative. So my brain was feeding me lots of narratives. I was planting lots of narratives in there, and I was just mad. And then it felt really unfair. It felt really unfair, but I couldn't boil the ocean around me. I couldn't make everyone else who was in the room with me change so I could feel better. Like, that's a fool's errand, right? I can't do that. So I had to do something that helped me see my role and how I was behaving, which was a product of the system, the system is built. But no one told me I had to stay in it and keep being that way. I just picked myself up and plunked myself over here. And I'm not talking about getting a whole new job. Me, a different human. I'm not, no one is ever too old to evolve. None of us is ever too old to try new things. And so I sort of stepped out of the human I was for a little while. And I started looking in and doing the work and reading and listening to different ways of using my mind, different ways of showing up, and realizing that, yeah, that is the system, but I don't have to contribute. I don't have to contribute. I can say, let me unplug from the system as it's created. Let me do my work over here for a little while. And then when I show back up, and to your point about people who don't know you today because they know you from years ago, thank God for forgiveness. Thank God, right, that we as human beings, humanity is, you can make mistakes and you can change and you can show up differently. You're not the person you were even 3 minutes ago. You've learned something new and you're different now. So I totally agree with you that we get like mad at the system. You have like so much of social media, LinkedIn in particular, I'm angry at the system. So unplug yourself for a little bit and then do the stuff you need to do to say, what am I putting into this system? Because I don't have to keep putting anger, negativity, resentment, vindictiveness. Oh my God. The level of people you see who are vindictive. The system built me, so now I'm going to be, I've got my Manolos on and I'm walking down Fifth Avenue, but I'm going to make everyone pay. Like, there are people who believe the system did that to them, as opposed to stopping and saying, I don't have to be like this. I can be different.
As I'm looking at your former self, I mean, you fine. I didn't put that raggedy picture you sent me. I was like, that's not what you look like. You are fine, but the fierceness in your eyes and that smirk is like, I was. You can have the intensity, like you're intense. You're like, I'm smiling. You fine though, but you are intense. Even in the picture, like, I'm the baddest monk that ever walked the street, and so being intense is exhausting. So let's talk about how, your process of coming out of that, right? Like, what was the one thing, we talked about it this morning, but what was the one thing that I told you to do? Like, how do we now rewrite and pull you off the ledge of intensity? And then, how did that work for you?
So you told me this, I was shifting from corporate to entrepreneurship. I was making that move. And you said, Brooke, for the love of all that is holy, just rest for 3 months. Just don't do anything. And I went, how is that going to help me, Christy? How is that going to help me? Because I was still I had lots of stuff still there. I was not able yet to flow, to move in faith. I didn't do that yet. I was still in the only way I'm going to make this happen is if I force it. I must be in charge, and I have a plan and I have a structure, and I'm going to follow the steps and the stages, and it's going to happen because I made it. I willed it into existence personally, right? I still had that. And then you were like, please take a break. And what was really interesting through that time, and I cheated at times. I still did some things because I can't help myself, Christy. But I did listen. I listened and I took a break. And there was suddenly this glorious silence, which I had been afraid of for my whole life. What happens on the other side of busy is silence. And you think it's a scary thing. It's not. It's actually really peaceful. And so I heard the silence. And I remember using that time to just allow myself to rewire into having, like, appreciating little things and appreciating the day and being grateful for being alive. Like, it sounds very silly to a lot of people. Oh, that's silly, Brooke. You're just grateful for being alive. No, I really, when now in my new world, sometimes folks will come up to me and be like, how are you? And I'm like, I'm grateful I woke up. I say that because I am. I shifted the way that I approached the world just through rest. Friends, rest. It's all I did. I just rested my body. For the first time in my lifetime, I rested. And I didn't try to perfect my rest. And I didn't have a plan for my rest. I just rested. And for me, it looked like reading, because that's what I love to do, and walking and sleeping. It looked like sleeping because I hadn't slept for a long time. It looked like these really simple, lots of cups of tea, because that's what I love. It makes me so happy to have a cup of tea. So I rested. And I didn't give myself agendas or to-dos. I just rested. And what began to come to me were downloads, were inspiration, and I started journaling, which I had never done in my whole life. I started journaling. And stuff started to pop out of my journaling as I would write. And it would be like, oh, that must have been buried in my subconscious, things about writing and how much I always loved to write that I buried deeply were coming out in my journaling. Making music. When I was young, I did. And then I became, so obsessed with winning everything and being in math and science and all of that. And so I didn't do that. So things were starting to pop out of me that I missed and that I realized were actually me. And the other thing that popped out of me, Christy, which can probably see a lot on LinkedIn, is I embraced my nerd. I spent so many years being a persona. And then I finally was like, but you can't get to know me. So I'm going to just be the nerd that I am. And by nerd, I mean, I love wonky things and I like talking about things and I'm super curious. And I love my intensity on subjects that are random and, sharing things with people that are I find really fascinating. And I don't care that it maybe comes across as nerdy. It's me. That's who I am. That's how I engage with others. And so embracing just all of me and all of the complexity and the color of me was liberating. And it allowed me to start receiving instead of pushing. But I had to go through a really intense process there, Christy, as you know, a couple months of letting go, of being
before we get that. Because you had to rest first, mm-hmm. and then surrender. So those were two different stages for you, right? Mm-hmm. So when I told you to rest, I mean, my God, you don't remember. Kathy said I got the memory of my mind is a steel trap. It wasn't that easy to get you to rest. Like we talked about it. I was like, hey man, if you just don't stop, and you're like, no, I gotta da. So we have to have a conversation of what rest means. Do nothing. What you mean do nothing? I mean do nothing. What do you mean do nothing? Like what? Not for somebody who got trophies since she was 6. Like you got winning certificates since you were 6. So you've been demonstrating how great you are. I remember. I don't forget nothing. Since you were 6.
My baton twirling certificate, age 6. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I still have it.
You've been performing and doing and winning since you were 6. And that made you successful. And again, and I'm going back to that because I'm trying to draw the timeline for people to understand. Yeah, that works. And that worked for you. But then at a certain point, it's like, hey, man, it starts to work against you when you keep achieving and you're not happy, right? It starts to work against you when you keep achieving and you're confused. It's like, well, I thought that this would make me happy, and this money would make me happy, and this house would make me happy, or this person would make me happy. Then we start to get confused because now we keep achieving because we're addicted to it more, and you be like this is stupid, but I can't stop. So it's like this self-destructive cycle of you don't know how to stop. And so I say that because when I told you to stop, it's really about so you can your current reality can catch up with who you're trying to run from. I needed those two people to merge. So once you stopped and, periodically, but for the most part, you did, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
hard to get an intense person to stop 100%. You stopped about 85 to 90, right?
Yeah, it's fair.
Long enough to be like, oh my God, I could have been happy this whole time.
Yes.
Oh my
And then
God, wait,
yes.
I am actually happy. I just didn't know it. Wait,
I am whole and wonderful.
the life that I wanted. Like I got everything. What the HELL was I working so hard for? Go ahead.
I am satisfied. It is enough. And it feels fine. And it actually feels more than fine. I feel so today. So I went through the process. Yes, it was tough. Thank you, Christy. It was tough. And it took me time to relax. And then once I got, and I want to say this for folks maybe who are like, I could never do that. You're looking at the queen of, I could never do that. Like, I could never relax. I am valuable because I am busy and I do so many different things. And that's where my value comes from. It was a lie. I am not valuable because I'm busy. I'm valuable because I'm just like an amazingly unique human being who has really cool things that I can do and bring to others. It's not because I fill my calendar, but because I was such a perfectionist and such a busybody, I thought that that was where my value was. And so I had to go through the work of decoupling, pulling apart the fact that my busyness is not my value, and then figuring out that I am enough. I am satisfied. I am a good person. I'm a wonderful human being who's really complex and has lots of cool things going on. And it's not the trophy wall. By the way, there's no trophy wall here. That's my bookshelf. But it was not the trophy wall that used to exist behind me. They're all put away. They're gone. It's the fact that I am uniquely human and I'm just an amazing person. And so I began to understand just how much the controlling and the busyness was a distraction from the actual path. That was what hit me. It was like, oh, I'm over here running and running and running, and I'm like not even in alignment with myself. There's a path over here and I got to get there. How do I get there? Because she is fun and she's nerdy and she's happy and she loves life. This version here doesn't. She might have some Manolos, but she doesn't like life very much. So how do I move? How do I get over here to her? Because she's the party. And she's not lazy and she's not boring. She's awesome and she's intuitive and she works hard but knows when to chill. She knows that she's got to stop a little bit before she, like, you put the gas pedal on and then you take it off and you rest, and then you put the gas and then you take it off and you rest. She knows that now. She didn't know that years ago. What an awakening to go through the process of first resting and then starting to get that surrender and the downloads, starting to have that happen. And again, I'm saying this, and for a lot of people who've always been in that go, go, go mode, like I was, you don't believe it until you actually do it. And It is one of the most gigantic leaps of faith I've taken. It is the most gigantic leap of faith. I thought the biggest leap of faith I ever was going to take was leaving a role that I had worked up through for 15 years. I thought that was going to be the biggest leap of faith. That was not. That was tiny compared to the leap of faith that I took when I actually rested myself.
Yep. Before we talk about awakening, because that's pretty much what we do over here at Vision Finder International. I was be tricking y'all about this job. We're gonna get that money though. So how did you resting allow you to show up differently in your home as a wife and a mom? Like I wanna talk about that because busy women are busy, but it's like we're missing certain events, right? And you don't know you're missing it because you're busy and you think that you're doing everything. And this is not to judge, but it's just to ask a question because you're a wife and a mom, so you have that perspective that you can offer. But how did you actually taking care of yourself change how you showed up in your household for other people?
So there's something that I love that question, Christy. And there's something that I was learning through the process that now I hold very dear, which is I won't speak my limitations into reality, perceived limitations into reality. So why is that connected to being a wife and a mom? I can be an amazing wife, an amazing mother, as well as an amazing business owner or an amazing employee, as long as I don't say I'm limited in some way. I don't speak that which I don't want to have be real. I won't say it. So what I find is that before I healed, before I felt better, before I rested, I used to say I'm overwhelmed. I don't even like saying it now because it's not good. It's bad karma. But I would say things that would limit my ability to show up because I was speaking them into my reality. So I would say, I'm overwhelmed by work and therefore I can't be a good wife, or I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time. I'm speaking my limitations into reality. And so through the process, what I finally began to see was, oh, it's not about me narrating over and over all this stuff that limits me. It's not that. It's not that at all. I'm choosing every day. I've got hours and I'm choosing where I'm showing up. And in every one of those spaces, I'm going to try to be as good as I can be in that space. And the more calm and the more rested and the more happy and grateful I am, I'm going to show up better, even if the hours are less. So even if on that particular day, I have scheduled so that I have so many meetings and I need someone in my tribe, meaning my husband or a babysitter or a friend, to pick my daughter up, I never now narrate that I did something wrong. That was a success because I sorted what needed to be sorted. And she, my daughter, is with someone who loves her and is having a great time. And when she sees me later, even if it's for 10 minutes, I'm going to bring my grateful self to that interaction. So my family now has a calm mom and wife who, when I'm there, I'm not perfect. I fall down. I get stressed. Everyone does. But when I'm there in my mind, I'm saying, how do I show up to maximize this love and this interaction here? Because this is my family. I've chosen them and they deserve to have a good person sitting across from them. Even if the person sitting across from them got stuck at work or stuck in traffic or stuck, it's okay. I'm here and we're all going to enjoy each other because we're all grateful to be together with one another. And so I stopped speaking limitations into reality. And I stopped saying, I'm a bad ex. I'm a bad this, a bad that, a bad. I stopped labeling myself. I am nothing other than a woman who's showing up. I'm not good. I'm not bad. I'm not terrible. I'm not overwhelmed. I'm not tired. I'm a woman who's showing up. And by going through the work, Christy, it helped me realize that is what they needed. That's what they wanted. They didn't want someone who was judging herself critically all day long and saying she was falling down and she wasn't perfect enough. They didn't want that. They wanted someone who was saying, oh, look, I just succeeded at getting home at 8:30. Yay, I'm here. Hey, everyone, I'm back. Like they wanted someone who, when I was there, I was present, I was with them, and I was a good person to be around. They didn't want an angry mom or an angry wife.
That's so good. Thank you for offering that, because there's so many women, the mom guilt, right? Like, and not being perfect. And if you come home at 8:30, you're sulking and feeling bad because oh my God, I should have got off at 6:30. And so you speak for an hour about and feel bad for an hour of what you should have done better, as opposed to being, I'm here. Right. And now go ahead.
That was the other thing. I got rid of shoulda, woulda, coulda. Oh, anytime those come out of my mouth now, I work so hard. I notice it. It's like the thing that I log in is I should have, you should have. That's just shame. You're just shaming yourself or you're shaming somebody else. It does not work. It doesn't help you connect. It doesn't help you feel good. It just, you've just stewed in your own should have juices for like an hour. And then you feel awful because you narrated this negative space for yourself instead of saying, I'm doing my best. Like I'm sure I am doing my best. I love you all. And when I walk through that threshold, I want to be in a good frame of mind. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer or Donnie Downer. I don't want to be that person. I choose to show up calm and good to you all, even though my day got a little, my day it wasn't a failure. My day just happened. That was my day. Here's what happened. And that's life. It's uncontrollable in most instances. So how do we show up?
Great. Let's talk about now surrender, but and awakening. And so a part of what I want to do and what I'm going to do, I was going to record some videos today. I'm going to record videos on trauma default, right? I want to just talk about awakening. I tried it. It's just going to be on YouTube because it didn't convert on LinkedIn. They just want to talk about jobs. Fine, let's talk about jobs on LinkedIn. I want to talk about awakening this year. I tried to start in January. It just didn't convert, but I'm going to do it, and it's just going to be on YouTube. So subscribe to my YouTube channel. I shall put the search me, but then I'll put the link in the comments. And it's me in a red tank top. I got 2 channels. So anyway, but when it comes to awakening, it's woo-woo. I used to be like, I don't know what y'all talking about. This is crazy, but I wanted it, right? Mess around with Oprah. And then when it happened, a part of the ease that my goal for y'all to have is actually to be happy, right? And so as y'all are going through the process and y'all are happier, and I'm like this, but there's another level. There's another level. There's another level. And people are like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, well, there are actually, I would say more than 100 levels of happiness. But if y'all are at level 1 happiness, miserable and partially crazy when you come, and you get to 5, when y'all leave, I want y'all to be at level 10, like at least, right? And then if you get past 10, which is typically what happened with the inner circle, which we're not doing anymore. But if you get past 10 to 14 is what I want for the inner circle, because that's where the manifestations come, where you're not necessarily working. And so for me, entrepreneurship isn't about action. Entrepreneurship is not about action. Entrepreneurship is about alignment. And the foundational principles I want to let y'all know 100% clear. Early stage entrepreneurship is not about action. It's about alignment. And if I can get y'all aligned to believe to make at least $100 million, at least $100 million, up to about $8 billion. That's my goal for y'all. Is like, you gotta be spiritually and energetically aligned before you build the skyscraper size building on top of entrepreneurship. Otherwise, Brooke, we're going to take the same raggedy habits that we had as an employee into entrepreneurship. And then you can become, this world-renowned leader and then crumble or, self-destruct because you didn't do that internal work. So I want to talk about that because that's, the conversations that I'm going to start having is like when we're looking at a lot of successful people commit suicide and leave here is because, we take our same survival mechanisms or the same trauma default and the same dysfunctions from our job and our careers, and we put that in entrepreneurship. And now as celebrities, you're exposed. Now you're more exposed. Now you're crazy, got a spotlight on it.
Yes.
So what was that as you started journaling? And the last part is when you started journaling, Brooke, I already tell you, y'all have everything. You just need to listen to hear you tell you what the path is, because you have your plan and then there's God's plan. And so God's plan is always better, but we need to be able to listen for it. And in order to hear it and hear you, you got to slow down and stop trying to boss everything, you control freak, right? Which is, I used to be a control freak. So we're trying to boss everything and push everything and move everything. And it's like, no, we got to actually stop long enough to listen and then let the raindrop hit you in the forehead. It's excruciating. But go ahead. What was that process for you?
Oh my gosh. This, I love talking about this because this is like the mountain in climb, right? Like it's this giant mountain, and you say, I can never get, again, speaking limitations into reality. I could never get there. I could never imagine it. But like, so here's what happened for me. I think this was part of the awakening when we were working together. And after I rested, I thought about, and I remember journaling about 18-year-old Brooke and what 18-year-old Brooke wanted for life. And today in my 40s, I can laugh about that because 18-year-old Brooke, so different from 40-year-old Brooke, but she thought she had the plan. And so 18-year-old Brooke, however, wasn't tapped in to a power greater than her to understand that whatever she mapped out was never going to be as good as something coming from the divine. It would never be that big. That's the surrender. The surrender is no matter how much I think I can control, hold, push, know how to perfectly orchestrate my life, no matter how much I think I can do that, I can't even begin to imagine how big my life could be. The only way I can get that download is by surrendering and knowing I can't outline as big of a plan as someone else can outline for me. I don't have the ability to. I am a mortal. I don't have that ability. I'm not divine. I'm not energy. I'm not spiritual, a big spirit. I am me. And so I have to wait for a download. And that was what helped me see it, and what helped me surrender into it was the realization that at every turn when I tried to orchestrate my life when I was young, it was bigger than I thought. Like I couldn't have imagined some of the things that would ultimately happen to me. I was just talking about that this weekend. I was at some event and I was like sitting with certain people and I was thinking 18-year-old Brooke, who grew up near Niagara Falls, New York, who had no network in New York City until her late 20s, basically. How is she sitting in this room? I could not have imagined that for myself. And so what surrender is, in my humble opinion, is trusting that it is literally not up to you. And you just have to walk and then receive. And the more you push and you orchestrate and you outline it and you agenda it, the more God or whatever you believe in kind of laughs at you, is like, that's cute. You can't even see how big it's going to be, girl. Brooke, what's wrong with you? You're not me, Brooke. You can't imagine how big this thing is. And so to walk, and the other thing that I'll say about surrender was the people closest to me could actually see the change in me when I began to do it. They could feel the energy of surrender, the faith, the trust, the belief in something bigger, whatever that was. And I didn't have to have it. I didn't need to be. Some folks would come to me and they'd be rather pedantic and they'd be like, describe to me exactly what it feels. And I'm like, no, we can't be pedantic right now. It is outside of the scope of my limited intelligence as a human, as smart as I am. So there's a path, there's an alignment, but it will never be given to me as a roadmap, ever. The only way it will be given to me is I start to walk, and I walk in faith, and then the next step magically appears. That's how it works. And I, if you asked me that even 5 years ago, I would tell you, you are so woo-woo, you're crazy, until I did it myself with Christy's help. That was the unlock for me, was surrendering.
One of the things that Wallace D. Waddle said that he says, man has yet to realize. Now, this is in 1910, that you work with the Father, that you do what you see if the Father wants you to do, right? And so we're working in tandem with God. And I was telling somebody the other day, when I say we in my post, I mean me and God.
We're just getting messages. We're just getting messages.
Yeah, when I say I mean me and God. Like it's like me and God are majority. And if I say we, depending on how I say it, is me, my team, but God is always a part of the team, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like once you come into alignment with destiny, and a lot of people won't do it, it's available to everybody. I especially love it for high achieving women because once we've exhausted every box on the Scantron, Brooke, like it's like, you know, turn the Scantron over. Do you know what a Scantron is? Because
I went to school at the same time. I know what Scantron is.
So there are no more boxes on the Scantron for you to check. Like once we've gone through 8 Scantrons and we have no more boxes to check, and we think that I thought I would feel differently. That means that it's time for us to shift from our definition of success, which goes up and is hierarchical and it's vertical, to horizontal. So now we're shifting from success and to significance. And significance is when you want to impact more people. Significance is when you want to pick up the mantle to be greater. Significance is when you want to inspire more people through your story of who you used to be. And you can come on to a live and talk for an hour about some of the things that you've done without worrying about being perfect and people judging you, because you know this story as you're talking. I want everybody to know Brooke is not sharing for her vanity. Brooke is sharing for you. And I'm asking her not for me to say you prove me right. Thank you. But it's like, it's not for me to be like, you know, bringing my clients out to share their stories for us and for my company. It's for you to let you know in 2025, you can have peace. You can have joy. You can come back into your household. You can have money. You can have everything that you want if you would just get some sleep and work out.
And so I want to pick that up, and I want to say, again, a part of the surrendering. And I know you went through this, Christy, as you were building your business, right? Is you start with this lens. A lot of us do. Not everyone, but a lot of us start with this lens. I just have to take care of myself, and I have to take care of my family. And I gotta have enough money for me and my family. And then as the downloads start, to your point about you're actually trying to impact lots of people. As the downloads start, you're like, actually my life is better the more people I help. It's not just me and keeping my family okay. It's all of the people I can impact, even if it's minor. That's when you're like really in alignment with the path that you should be on, and you're doing something greater than you. It's not just how much money is in my bank account, though that is something, right, Christy? I know that you like lots of folks show up and they say, I need to talk about how much money is in my bank account in my career. But once you say, hold on a second, hold on. I think I'm actually on this earth. If I accept the assignment, I'm on this earth. So it's not just about my bank account. It's about 80 bank accounts. It's actually about 300 bank accounts. It's about as many bank accounts as I can affect. That's when you can come into alignment. And that's when the surrender really, like, it picks up steam, because it's not about you. It's not about me. It's about the way that we can show up with our unique gifts, channeled from somebody else, because it's not me doing it. I'm touched by genius. I am not a genius, right? I'm touched by something that is coming to me as a download. I am not the genius. But how do I take that and then sprinkle it around? I'm not doing this for me. I'm not doing this for me. I don't have a coaching business. I'm doing this because I love what Christy does, and because giving forward is helping 3 other women's bank accounts or 20 other women. That to me is what feels like I'm in alignment. So it's not about me anymore and my career and how just me. It's about how do I show up into the world and then help all these other people in whatever way I'm destined to do that. And my assignment's different from your assignment, Christy, and everyone's assignment is different, which is, I think, hard sometimes for people to swallow because they want you to show up and they want you to do everything for everyone because you obviously are, your power. And you're like, no, but here's my assignment. And this is where I'm in my zone and I can really help. But if you get in that zone, you can multiply. You can multiply the fishes and all the bread for everyone.
It's interesting as you were talking, I have this link that I want to put in the chat to join me next week I'll be on Wednesday at CoachCon. So Coach Kathy asked me to speak at their coaching event. And so, they're like, do you have an offer? I'm like, no, I have no offer. Like, I'll come speak because you asked me, but I don't work with coaches, right? Like, I have my own company. But if you want to build a 7-figure business, I'll speak because I want to serve, not because I want anything, right? I'm not coming to like make an offer. I don't have one. You'd be like, try, but I will come and speak. So if y'all want to join us at CoachCon to learn how to build a 7-figure business, that's the link is in the chat, coachcon.global. So, all right, last question, Brooke, because I don't want to keep you forever. So once you started to, what's your vision? Are you ready to share your vision? Or how do you exist now that's different than 2023 besides the woo-woo? And I remember it's funny because when I knew that you had finally rested and you snapped. When we talk about alignment, so I look at y'all like, like Rubik's cubes, like when you get the blue side that's lined up and then the red side that's lined up, like there are certain miracles, signs, and wonders that will show up because I know that y'all have everything. We just need to get y'all in line because I don't know what's going to pop out. It's like Jack in the Box. It's the greatest business ever. So you said, I don't know if it was you or Karen Potwell. I think it was both of y'all. You're walking down the street in New York, randomly smiling at people.
That's me. I still do it. I do it on the subway all the time. People are like, I'm like, no, I'm actually happy and I'm peaceful and I know no one's going to hurt me if I'm sitting in this space. Like, I'm just a smiley lady sitting on the subway.
Like, why is this late? This is so weird because you're in New York. Everybody's intense. You used to be the intense New Yorker. And now you're like the weird person who's smiling at people. They'd be like, man, is this a serial killer? Like you Joker on the back man or something.
I own it. This is the authentic me. I'm actually a very happy human being.
What advice, my last question, what advice do you have for people who, who don't believe that anything good is waiting for them or anything good can happen to them, or they're too locked into their habits to want to take control of who they are and how they show up, right? So I named this Reclaim Your Power, take control of your life, because we're in a time where we keep getting told of what's going to happen and what should happen and how the world is going to go. And with uncertainty, we need to be able to do certain things. And I'm like, man, I've been talking for probably like 7, 8 years now. I've been saying the same thing of you have to take control of your destiny. You have to take control of your fate. Your office and your company is not responsible for your psychological safety. Your company, the people that I talked to, Brooke, who were waiting for their companies to invest in their coaching, got laid off. And now they crying foul on LinkedIn. And I'm like, man, y'all could have doubled and tripled your salaries right now. So it's not about me. I'm just trying to give you the path to show you that you have everything. But what advice do you have for people, and women in particular, who don't believe that anything good can happen for them because the news keeps telling them that they should be in chaos and depressed and crazy, and let's normalize that?
Oof, this is a good one to end on. So two things on this that I hope are really helpful to help people get unstuck from that feeling of gloom. The first is something that I now know to be true because I've seen it happen over and over and over again in faith that I never saw before when I had expectations that I was always going to have 1-for-1 outcomes. So I'll give you an example. I today am working with an incredible group. I've known them for a long time. They're amazing people. And one of the things that I, in my old life, would never have done, because if I show up and I offer you something, you better give me something in return, right? 1-for-1 correspondence. I make an effort and I better see a result. What I learned as I began to walk in faith was I can just give effort, and I can give effort purely, and I can give effort with the knowledge that at some point in time, the effort I've put forth is going to reap something. I don't know exactly what, but it's going to. That's how the universe works. The universe is going to give back to you in some manner. You just don't know how. And so one of the things I would offer, well, the first thing I would offer is, don't be afraid to say, let me help you. I have no agenda. I have no expectation you're going to do anything for me in return. I'm doing this because I'm a good human being who has a certain skill. And the amount of doors that began to fly open for me just because I had faith that the universe had my back, the number of doors were insane. So I'll offer that up as you begin to sort of think about, how do I change my life? A big part of changing my life, me as a human being, was not selfishly trying to always have 1-for-1 correspondence. I make an effort and I better get a return. I make a little effort, I better get a return. I pulled myself out of the, call it paycheck mentality, and I pulled myself up into I'm going to put forth this effort and the universe is going to reward me in some manner. I don't know how yet, but it will. So that was number one for me. And then I think the other thing that I would say is you asked me about vision. The vision is not going to be handed to you by somebody else. No one is going to show up and give you a vision. Your boss isn't going to give you a vision for your life. Your boss, if you want to sit with your boss or sit with somebody else to map out your life, you are literally relegating your steps to some other human being who doesn't know you. They don't know you. They don't know, right? They don't know you like you know you. In fact, I lost sight of who I was until I rested. Thank you, Christy. And then I found me again. And then from that place of knowing me, I could say, what do I want? And I had to say it. Remember how I said I don't speak limitations into reality? Guess what? I speak what I want into reality now. I speak what I want, and I have to say it. I have to write it. Look, Christy, you're going to laugh. Look at all my journals now. I never journaled 3 years ago. Look at all of, I fill these things up all the time. So I had to speak into reality what I wanted. I had to not be shy. I had to not be a perfectionist. I had to, I can tell you what I spoke in a year ago, maybe showed up 6 months later, and maybe that was a component, but because I was too small of a thinker, it wasn't big enough yet. And so I had to take that component and use that component to the thing that I started to speak about next. And then the next thing and I am now starting to speak in a manner, speaking into reality in a manner, things that if you asked me 10 years ago to say out loud, I would have been speaking limitation. I would not have been speaking, I am going to raise $1 billion of funding for real estate in the next 2 or 3 years, friends. That's what I'm going to do. I would never say that out loud because I would limit myself. But now I've seen that the faithful who surrender can get it. They can get there. So I can speak it into my reality without fear. And even if what I say isn't perfect and I have to tweak it, and so be it. Thank you, universe, for giving me a little bit of the download. And I have to wait for the rest of the download. It's coming. It's just not here yet. Walking in faith, paying into the pot of the universe and knowing something's going to come to you, but not expecting the person sitting right across from you is going to give it to you immediately, because then you appear thirsty and nobody likes that. It doesn't work well. You have to sort of think and move through life as if you are taken care of and you're held. The universe has got you. If you believe the universe has got you, then you'll get you and you'll get it done and you will accomplish the things you want to accomplish. But you have to speak them and you have to give effort without expecting that God is going to return it to you 2 days later. It's hard though to walk in faith, Christy, as you know. We're not taught to do this unless you were lucky enough to be in that home. But many of us weren't taught to do this. We have to teach ourselves how to do it.
What advice do you have for people who are considering working with us over here at Vision Finder International? But by the way, is that your new house? Is this your new house? Because it's that light. Oh my God! Look at
That's
how
my
much
new
light.
house. Thank you.
Is that the new house though? Okay, but
This
go
is
ahead.
the new house. This is the new house. The new light. I'm in heaven over here. It is.
The light.
We talked about speaking into existence the things that you want, and a while ago I spoke into existence that I wanted to own an apartment in New York City, and here I am. Here I am.
It's amazing. The light, though, in New York.
18-year-old Brooke from Niagara Falls in New York if she'd own an apartment in New York City, and she'd be like, "What are you talking about?" Right? But here we are.
Yeah.
I would say just do it already. Just do it. If you are thinking about connecting with Christy and you're hesitating because you're afraid you're going to have to do some work. And I'm here to tell you, it's the best work you do. So just stop hesitating. Okay. Just do it. She pulls things out of people in a manner that she's touched by genius. And the genius that Ms. Christy Rutherford is touched by is the ability to see you where you are and then figure out really quickly, oh, here's what's happening for you. And instead of you paying a therapist thousands of dollars to talk to you about it for a year, talk to Christy for like an hour. Okay? How about that? So just do it.
You'd be like, child, we ain't got time. Okay, so before I close, I'm going to make one more commercial for my virtual event that I have coming up. So if you want to join us, learn how to make between $500,000 to $1 million in your career, because I still have to trick y'all over here with this money. We're going to get the mindset and the money. What's the point of getting the money if we don't have your mindset in order? So I want to be able to do both. And it's targeted, it's specific, it's amazing. And anytime you come over here and work with us, you will win. But this is just my virtual event that I am sharing some insight on what my methodologies are, what my wins are, Brooke. You know what? I'm gonna say this and then we're gonna jump. You know what's interesting, because we like to talk, but we both got stuff to do. I was talking to my friend this morning, and I was thinking, when I should have been, I mean, I do it. I could have been further ahead, because when people look at my brand, they're like, but Christy, you don't have 2 million followers, or you don't have 2 million followers on Instagram, or you don't have 1 million followers on LinkedIn. And so I think about how I chose to invest my time and my intellectual property in the past 5 years. I got results. So I got data. I wasn't out here just talking. I was proving. So I had to, and I work with alpha women. Let's be clear. So I could, ain't no way I'm gonna be out here building a YouTube channel with 2.5 million subscribers if I'm actually working to produce the result in that I believe in other people. Yes. And if I can get this lady right here to change her whole life, and you and Erika and Denise, like I had the picture today, Karen Patwa, people in 20 different countries, but I wanted to do it my way. So there are people who look at me like, what do you have? I got results and I have the data. So we talk about 500,000 to $1 million, that's a snoozer for me, but we're going to get this money. But I want y'all to get your mindset right first, because I know if we get your mindset right, the money will follow. I've said it in 2025, and I have been saying it since 2018. This is what we do. Don't be expecting for me to shuck and jive and prove my results. I got too many results, child. You'd be like, but anyway, so that's all I got. But I appreciate you for trusting in level 1 process, right? And then the level 2 process of like manifestation. And now you're working in flow. You ain't working hard no more. You're not intense anymore. You're not, I mean, you're intense when you want to be, but not negative intense. There's a difference. There is relaxed intensity, because you're an alpha woman, you're a strong woman, and you're a New Yorker. So you're not going to be no punk walking around here. So it's like, I want the people to know that your life can be absolutely, completely different. Brooke started working on herself in 2023. This hasn't been a 20-year process. And Brooke, we didn't talk every week for 2 years. It was the 4 months and you were done. And then you came to Inner Circle and that was a year and then you were done. So it's not like I'm holding y'all hand the whole time. It's like, nah, let's get this information and y'all pick up the ball and run. I don't want to run beside you and hold your hand the whole time. Child, I ain't got time. I'm busy.
and we needed to run because again, at the end of the day, we're working on ourselves so that we are not victims in our lives. We're doing what needs to be done. We're connecting. And I love that you said, like, yeah, I now can take my intensity, which is much more relaxed intensity, but I can take that intensity and I can focus it in on what matters. I am not in the chicken coop with the chickens complaining about stuff. I'm not there. I'm focusing my intensity on what matters. I am not talking about office politics and like that's okay. Yeah, I know it's there. I know how the game works. I get it. I've been there, done it, know it, understand it. But instead of showing up in that, I can take that intensity and I can keep it like nice and smooth, use it when I need to, but focus on the work, focus on the channeling, focus on the solution, focus on the building, not focus on that person sitting next to me who I think maybe looked at me a little sideways. Like, I don't have time. I have no energy for that. There's no energy in my world for that anymore.
Yeah.
My energy is focused.
And I think it's like we define success on our terms. It's not because to some people success is 2 million Instagram followers, but that's not my definition of success, right?
Those are vanity and ego metrics, right? As opposed to results metrics.
Well, it's how you choose to play your game, right? Okay. So I'm playing my game, you're playing your game. And so you could have easily went to another organization and, and proven, but you're like, you know what? There are certain things that I want in my life so I can stay in line, so I can stay rested, so I can continue to have the quality of life that I want. Let me now figure out how I want to play my game and not look at the results of other people. Like if somebody is, in your industry is making $20 million, but if they're working 80 hours a week and they don't see their kid and they don't see their spouse, we would say, well, that's winning. Well, we already know. You'd be like, well, I can still make $20 million and not be crazy. And I can actually spend time. Let me figure out how do I do that? I think that's the big thing, right? Like we're like, I can get that, but I want to do it the way that's going to keep me aligned with the freedom and the joy that I want, not just go out there and get money and be crazy.
Amen. There is no one right path. There is no one right path. And don't speak limitations into reality. Right? It's like, so if people think there's only one way to do it, well, then they're all going to talk about each other not doing it the right way. No one defines a right way. You had your way. I got my way. We've all got our way. We have to find our way. And it's hard. It's hard, I think, because so many people are looking for that external feedback loop. Christy, I don't know about you. I'm pretty sure you don't get one. I get no external feedback loop. I just have to show up in faith. There is no one patting me on the back and telling me you're doing a great job. Make sure that next year you do these 5 things. It's me and it's you, and your external feedback loop is a client showing up to work with you. That's your feedback loop, but there's no like high five, great job. Here's a sticker. There's none of that. So we have to just do it and believe. And that's hard. It's hard work.
All right, y'all. Don't hang up, Brooke. All right, y'all. Well, y'all have a great weekend. I hope that y'all have enjoyed my marathon over here. I'm starving. My marathon podcast, insight, information for y'all to be able to reclaim your power and take control of your life in uncertain times. Y'all have everything that you need to live the life that you desire. And I hope that you've taken the information from Erika and Brooke and choose to be better because it is available to y'all. Bye, y'all.